Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mrs. G. Today we're going to be looking at the second part of the Geography CSEC Paper 1 for 2019. So we're going to be starting from question number 31. If you did not see the first part of the video, you can check out the link that is above so that you get a chance to walk through numbers 1 to number 30. Let's go. Alright, so we're at number 31. The question says, how does vegetation contribute to the development of soils? A, it increases the depth. B, it decomposes to form humus. C, it produces the parent material. D, it decomposes to produce inorganic matter. The answer here is going to be B, it decomposes to form humus. For number 32, the slow downhill movement of debris and soil under the influence of gravity may best be described as, so we know that's not a landslide because that's fast, soil creep, soil erosion, or mass wasting. Mass wasting is more of a general term. Creeping is small, slow downhill movement. So the answer for that would have been B, soil creep. Number 33, what processes cause the formation of an igneous rock? So the word igneous is from the Greek word ignis, which means fire. So you can look through the answers for anything that relates to fire or volcanic activity or volcanoes, and you would get your answer. So for this one, 33, it is magma and lava are cooled to form crystals. There's sediments are compacted and cemented. Once you see sediments and compacting, that would have been a sedimentary rock. Rocks are hardened due to high temperatures, more of metamorphic, and rocks are changed due to intense heat and pressure, more of metamorphic as well. So the process causing the formation of an igneous rock would have been A, magma and lava are cooled to form crystals. So now on to number 34. With what type of plate margins are volcanoes in the Caribbean associated? So for number 34, the answer would have been C, that is convergent. As the word suggests, converge means coming together. So it just shows that the plates are coming together at that section. For the Caribbean, in the Lesser Antilles, you would see a chain of volcanic islands, which would suggest that at the subduction zone, we have magma coming up, which causes the islands to be formed basically in a line. So we would give C for number 34. Number 35 refers to the following profile of a river. Which of the following processes is dominant in the first stage? First stage, river is strongest. Think of a young person that may be a little rowdy, destructive, removing things, has a lot of energy. So for 35, in the first stage of the river would have been eroding. So that would have been letter A for the answer. For number 36, item 36 refers to the following contour map of an area. The type of slope shown in the landform may be described as gentle, convex, uniform, or concave. We have four main types of slopes. That's concave, convex, uniform, and stepped. In this case, we are looking at a concave slope, so our answer for number 36 would have been D. Concave slopes, the contour lines are far apart at first, but they become closer together at the higher lands. It is not uniform. We can see that based on how the contour lines are set out, and it is not convex either. So for 36, our answer would have been letter D. For number 37, which of the following features exerts the greatest influence on tourism in the Caribbean? So it said greatest influence. So we have climate, carnival, coral reef, tropical forest. Greatest influence is climate. That is what carries tourists all the year round. That's why they come for the sand, the sun, and the sea. 38 to 40 refer to the following graph, which shows the percentage of total population employed in agriculture in 1991 and 2017 in some Caribbean territories. So we have Trinidad, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Barbados, and the Bahamas. 38. Which of the following countries had the largest percentage of people employed in agriculture? So this section here is showing us the percentage of people, and we have this bar that is not blocked out for 1991 and this bar, the lines in it, for 2017. So which of the countries had the largest percentage of people employed in agriculture? Remember that the entire graph is showing us agriculture, so for the largest number of people would have been the one that is the highest with the most percentage. That is going to be letter A, which is Haiti, for number 38. For number 39, which is using the same diagram, in 2017, the country with the lowest percentage of people employed in agriculture was, so we're looking for the lowest percentage and we're looking for it in 2017, so it has to be a bar that looks like this one. So from this, the lowest one here would have been Barbados. So in our answer section, the answer would have been letter B, which is Barbados. For number 40, in which of the following countries did the employment in agriculture experience the greatest decline? So if it is talking about a decline, it means we're going to compare 1991, which is the white bars, with 2017, which is the lined bars. So for that comparison, we're looking for which countries experience the greatest decline. So there needs to be a reduction, which means the white bar needs to be higher than the lined bar. The options are Haiti, the Bahamas, Puerto Rico. We can look at the graph first. So Haiti did not have much of a decline. The greatest decline in this one, we are seeing a large decline in Cuba, large decline in Dominican Republic. So we can start looking at our answers to see which one has Cuba and Dominican Republic, because they have the greatest decline. And that would have been letter D for number 40. Dominican Republic, Cuba, and Trinidad and Tobago. That would have been our answer for number 40. For number 41, which of the following features is an example of intrusive volcanicity? So intrusive means these features, or this is happening internally inside the Earth's crust. The only intrusive thing here is a sill, letter A. Every other thing that is listed there, they are actually extrusive features, means they have been cooled, the lava has been cooled and hardened, and these features are formed on the outside of the Earth's surface. So for number 41, our letter for answer would have been letter A. Number 42, it refers to the following diagram of a coastal area. Which of the following processes is most likely to result in the formation of the feature labeled at X? So this is our feature here at X. Alright, so this feature is made as a result of sand accumulation. So accumulation means a build-up, so it cannot possibly. For number 42, item 42 refers to the following diagram of a coastal area. So we are seeing this feature here, which they're asking us to look at, letter X. The question says, which of the following processes is most likely to result in the formation of the feature labeled X? So this is what we are looking at. This feature is created as a result of accumulation of sand. So this accumulation of sand here, accumulation means a buildup. So it means we are depositing. We cannot possibly be eroding, which means we're taking away. So the answer that we are going to write cannot possibly have 2 in there. So far, letter A, would have been out, and letter D would also be out. So we are left with 1 and 3. C would also be out because it has 2, yes. So since it cannot be erosion, we are left with 1 and 3. So even if you're not 100% sure of these, when you look through, you will realize that 2 is in the other 3 options. Therefore, your answer, it has to be B, which is 1 and 3 only. So longshore drift as well as wave deposition would have created letter X, the feature X. So our answer for 42 would have been letter B. For 43, which of the following factors is mainly responsible for high temperatures in the Caribbean? High temperatures in the Caribbean, mainly responsible would have been latitude, which is basically talking about our location in relation to the equator and the amount of sunlight that we would be getting. That is what really is responsible for our high temperatures. Altitude is just referring to the height of the land. Not all of the Caribbean is on the same height, but yet we all have relatively the same temperature. So we would refer that to latitude. For number 43, the answer would have been letter B. For 44, what do the dotted lines, here goes, items 44 and 45 refer to the following diagram of a mountain with tributaries leading to a river that flows into the sea. What do the dotted lines in the diagram represent? So we have the dotted lines here. Alright, we can see already that they have labeled the dotted lines. It says watershed boundary right here. So we have a plateau for an answer, the hilltop, watershed, and the drainage basin. Now, cannot be a plateau. Plateau is a flat-topped hill. It is not the hilltop either. It is the watershed. Drainage basin is the general area that is drained by the river, so that is not our response either. And even if you didn't know this answer, just by paying attention to the diagram where they had actually done the labeling for you, watershed boundary, you would need to just pick watershed for your answer. 45. Which of the following terms describes the drainage pattern of the area? So for drainage pattern, you are looking at how the water flows off the land, what kind of shape it creates when it is flowing off the land. So we have a trellis pattern, radial pattern, parallel, and dendritic. This drainage pattern resembles a rectangular grid. So if you look here, we are not seeing a rectangular. We're not seeing rectangular lines joining to the main river here. That is not the shape that we have. So trellis would have been out. Radial, just like the word suggests, is in a radial pattern, more like spokes on a bicycle. Circular pattern, and we're not seeing circular here. Parallel, we're not seeing parallel either, just like the word suggests. We are actually looking at a dendritic pattern. Dendritic is from a Greek word which means tree. So it actually looks like branches on a big tree. Once you see that, it looks like branches, and then the main river looks like a big tree trunk, then you would have had a dendritic pattern. So for 45, our answer would have been letter D. Moving on to 46. Which of the following sources of energy is least likely to harm the environment? Notice the question said least likely. So we have oil, solar, nuclear, natural gas. This one is super easy. Solar, anything is better. So we are going to put B for our answer. that is going to be solar for 46. For 47, which of the following is an effect of preserving mangrove wetlands on the coast? Effect of preserving mangrove wetlands on the coast. So A, there's an ease in building ports. B, smoothness of the coastline. Increased erosion of the coastline. Reduced erosion of the coastline. The answer for this one is going to be reduced erosion of the coastline. The question requires you to think a little. It is asking about the effect of preserving mangrove wetlands on the coast. So you have to think about, what is the purpose of mangroves? Why would it be important to preserve them? What would happen if we preserve them? Out of these responses, if we were to preserve mangroves, then it would reduce the erosion of the coastline, because that's the purpose of the mangroves. So for 47, our answer would have been letter D. For 48, the process by which beach material is moved along the coast by wave action is called solution, refraction, longshore drift, or hydraulic action. Movement of materials along the beach is as a result of longshore drift. Solution is dissolving materials. Refraction is bending, and hydraulic action is a coastal erosion process. So our answer for 48 would have been letter C. For 49, which of the following resources is most important when considering the location of primary industries? So primary industries are those extractive industries where you're actually taking something from the natural environment. So the most important thing when considering the location of this industry would have been where the raw material is. It's not power, it is not the labor or the transportation. The fact that you're taking something from its natural environment, you need to be right beside that something. So for 49, your answer would have been letter D. For number 50, which of the following is a major problem of urban areas in Caribbean territories? So this would have been under the topic of urbanization, and it is asking about problems of urbanization or problems of urban areas, specifically in Caribbean territories. So there's shortage of labor, poor shopping facilities, absence of paved roads, or poor housing conditions. One major thing with urban areas is that you would have a wide amount of squatter settlements because people don't have access to proper housing. So the answer for number 50 would have been letter D, poor housing conditions. Which of the following situations contributes most to the pollution of the environment of capital cities in CARICOM? So the question is basically asking you to pick the one that contributes the most to pollution in cities in Caribbean countries. So A, discharge of chemicals into the sea. Not a lot of that is taking place in capital cities in CARICOM in general. So I would not have picked that as the answer. For B, discharge of fish waste into the sea. Not a lot of the capital cities are utilizing those areas as fishing villages or areas to have so much fish waste to be disposing in the sea. So we would say it is the most. So it would not be B either. C, exhaust fumes from motor vehicles. If you look around any city that you're in, specifically CARICOM cities, the buildings are tall, not much air is able to pass through, there's a lot of traffic. Most cities or central business districts are characterized by traffic and, in essence, air pollution. So I would probably pick C for the answer. Let's look at D, accumulation of garbage from factories. Not necessarily either, because majority of cities are not necessarily having factories in their central business district. So the answer for 51 would have been C, exhaust fumes from motor vehicles. That would have been the most suitable answer. Number 52, harmful gases, liquids, and solids which affect the earth and its inhabitants are examples of A. Pollutants, B. Sediments, C. Solid waste, D. Contaminants. So it is not sediments, neither is it solid waste because they have gases and liquids as well, so those two are out. The two options left are pollutants and contaminants. Now these two are extremely close. Pollutants are harmful substances that are found inside the environment. Contaminants are basically the same thing that are found inside the environment as well. The main difference is that pollutants is always a harmful substance, whereas contaminant is not always a harmful substance. So for this one, the answer is going to be A, pollutant, because the question clearly said harmful gases right here. Harmful gases, liquids, and solids which affect the earth and its inhabitants. So those would have been pollutants. You can have something that is contaminated or they are contaminants, but they are natural contaminants, so they are not necessarily harmful. So for 52, the answer is going to be letter A. For 53, which of the following statements about soil is generally true? Depth increases as moisture content increases. Fertility increases as the humus content increases. Acidity increases as humus content decreases. Acidity increases as the moisture content decreases. That is going to be letter B. Fertility increases as the humus content increases. If you think of probably backyard gardening, or you probably see some parents or neighbors adding scraps from kitchen or other materials to their garden, and then they may dig it inside the soil in an effort to create this humus so that they can increase the fertility of the soil. For number 54, which of the following areas on the map would early settlers most likely have chosen to build? So we have W, X, Y, and Z. So W is here. This, based on the key, is representing a swamp. Nobody wants to live in a swamp. Remember though that we are talking about early settlers, not us, early settlers. X is towards the top here. For X, if you notice the contour lines, this is relatively highland on a hill, and it is also close to a river, but early settlers would not be doing that. For C, which is Y, early settlers, they would not have running water, so they would try to stay close to water that is available, also close to the sea where they have access to food, also close to flat land where it is easy for them to do some amount of building or constructing somewhere for them to live. For letter D, that is Z, a little further away from the water source, where they would have to actually travel to get to the water. So the answer for 54 would have been letter C, which is Y, right at the source of the water, also where they have a source of food. You have to pay attention to the questions, because if it did not say early settlers, then maybe you could have chosen something else. But early settlers, that is where they would prefer to settle. For number 55, which of the following features indicates an unhealthy coral reef? Brightly colored coral, those beautiful ones, those are the healthy ones. Large number of parrotfish. Parrotfish are usually close to healthy corals because they utilize it as a habitat, and they also want to grind the corals. So it would not be A, it would not be B. C, large variety of species of coral. That would not be the answer either, so the only one left is D. Extensive area of bright white coral. So that would suggest that these are bleached. So for 55, the answer would have been D. For 56, which of the following conditions is not likely to result from the setting up of secondary or manufacturing industries in the Caribbean? A, increased export. B, reduced cost of living. C, increased employment opportunities. D, reduced importation of consumer goods. For 56, the question said, which of the following conditions is not likely to result? It would have been B, reduced cost of living. For number 57, which of the following practices may help to reduce problems of pollution created by household waste? A, depositing in the sea, piling up in secluded spots, dumping along watercourses. D, burying and covering with soil. The answer for this one is D, burying and covering with soil. This may cause some of the materials to be decayed, which in essence is a good way of disposal. But the question said, which one of the practices may help to reduce problems? So this is the one that may help to reduce problems of pollution that is created by household waste. For 58, the bauxite industry in the Caribbean has declined mainly because A, cost of production has become too high. B, quality of the region's bauxite has become substandard. C, there is a shortage of skilled labor. D, demand for bauxite has fallen on the international market. The answer is A, cost of production is extremely high. Number 59, which of the following conditions is not a problem affecting industrial development in the Caribbean? A, size of the market. B, size of the labor force, availability of capital, and quantity of raw materials. So the one that is not a problem affecting industrial development would have been B, the size of the labor force. The final question, number 60, which of the following actions can help to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases? 1, increased use of chlorofluorocarbons. 2, increased use of solar power. 3, reduction in the use of fossil fuels. So remember, it is asking which of them can help to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. So 1 says increasing use of chlorofluorocarbons. We know that that is really bad, so no. Any answer that has letter I in there would have been wrong. So that is A would be out, B would be out, D would also be out. So the answer would have been C, which takes 2 and 3 only. So increase in the use of solar power and reduction in the use of fossil fuels. So for number 60, the answer is letter C. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching. It is always a pleasure to assist you in any way that I can. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Please remember to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And please remember to like the video. If there are other topics that you would like me to go through or to explain, please let me know in the comment section. If you liked the video, please let me know in the comment section. If you needed explanation of another section, or if you have another way that you can figure out your answers, please share with us as well. We're always happy to listen to you, and we're always happy to help. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.